we do have the oldest of old comps here from the Burger Boys, who are definitely big favorites coming into this. They were so impressive on that playoffs run, a nice, pleasant surprise.
Spike down B. Last player standing.
Toxins going up.
We did go through a lot of effort to highlight, but very well deserved, and they made it easy to just want to keep on doing it. Really fantastic in that playoff run that I mentioned. I'm excited to see more of this Burger Boys team, man. They're one of the sleepers that has a real shot of making it to Ascension. They got a nice amount of points from finishing in 3rd place. One of their rivals, Ambrosia, no longer exists, so it feels like they're just in prime position to go on a run and be one of the least expected teams to actually make it to that tournament later this year.
Apologies, briefly, fans, for the technical issues. I am now hearable. Nothing of value was lost, though, I guarantee you. In the second round, of course, Burger Boys, off that effort from Practo, now to get themselves in a pretty comfortable position. A Guardian even picked up here for Nerv, and it is that mid-emphasis. Talked about a little bit, sort of on the desk about Tejo not being a factor. Now you can linger. There's no risk of getting trapped by sticking around a little bit on this side of the map. Gonna be a prowler here to across Retro, but he does not want to give this ground up to favorite challenger Somalia. Wanting to take the fight, and Rems falls. 3v3, but Retro still present here and has eyes on the spike. There's an attempt from Maryville to relieve some pressure by playing low B, but Nanas is far too quick for it. Very strong start here for Berg.
Looking kind of cold with that Spectre. There's with another one of the guys. Honestly, at some point, I feel like I'm ready to just run through every single player on this Burger Boys team and harken back to the glory of their playoffs run. Because honestly, at different points, I feel like every single player displayed whatever their unique talents may be in different situations. For me, Manners was one of the kind of cold clutch guys that was finding impact in crucial moments, keeping them in games. We'll see if that comes into play today against a Maryville team that are fresh into the Challengers scene, but are not a new team by any means. These guys have been grinding together for a minute.
I think it's worth pointing out, C-Val is like a pretty big deal in terms of the strength of teams. And also, I mean, the record between these two rosters has heavily favored Maryville in previous encounters. That was a bit of a walk up there, though, from Nanas. This time getting a little bit hyphy with it over on the B side of the map. And is obviously Roman now out of the equation. Stall util drastically limited. Retro can really only hold down this A side of the map. So Maryville definitely getting a sniff of the cheese here. And once again, it's just glacial play up through the middle part of the map.
Taking their time after getting that initial pick. They don't need to force anything. Wait for that cloud to drop. Paranoia was lined up back from Ramen, and now they're going to push into Heaven or on the defense.
Oh, the timing, Retro! What a moment to come alive, straight on into Heaven, and all of a sudden, that early momentum Maryville able to develop now, starting just to fall away. Up on the site they are, though. He knows that Ange was able to get across with a shadow step. Now maybe heading over towards the A side. He knows, of course, that the defenders were doubled up here. Zerona hoping to dig out. And he does. Practo can't quite get away from that B side of the map. And it will all be on Retro, who's a couple of steps behind here. There's definitely concern about Zerona being left as a loose end.
Yeah, this would just have to be a straight up clutch and ace for Burger Boys to take this. And he might have an opportunity for an isolated 1v1. You don't want to give him that, Zerona. Get out of there and play with Ange.
That's out the bag, though, in terms of Retro's pathing. He crosses pretty brazenly through elbow. Ready to map. Ange on the line, too strong. 3 for the Omen for Maryville, and they get themselves on the board. Their first Challengers NA round. Things got a little bit dicey midway through. They're able to capitalize and end it.
That was pretty beautiful from Retro. Catches a great timing. Knowing in that round, they're already down a man. We got to go for something proactive. We have to make a play somewhere. So just intuitive timing. Gets out of there. That snap onto the third player as well. It's really nicely handled. But the response from Maryville, great. You know, that teleport over to A, and while that's going on, Zerona gets very deep into spawn on the lurk. That's well done.
Proper round in front of us now, Maryville. on that. Oh my goodness. Practo, another early exit. Not what he was looking for there. Last round it was Nanas. Practo taken out through smoke now. You see BURG boys speculating somewhat as well, getting a little bit of early damage on Wildfire, but still the aura is in that site. Mville wasting no time in canvassing this region of the map. It'd be BURG boys to maintain this heaven control and slow play, but there's a double swing here coming from this ramp direction, kind of heralded by the Prowler as well.
Look at this lurk deep in mid is Zerona. That time it could be the nail in the coffin on the round as BURG boys are waiting to get situated for this retake. Look at Zerona biding his time.
They go on the side. Geezer again trying to spray down through smoke. Bonnie has got Kieran again. He wants to put those mechanics on display.
Last player
Nicely done. Double blast pack to get there, but Zerona is hard to deal with. They lock it down from Heaven's side. They're a little low. Nerve here does not really have the time to take the risk, and Zerona picks his moment perfectly. Even game here. Mville looking pretty confident as they take charge on A.
What a play. Multi-man kill from Zerona, and then at the end there when Nerve is isolated and you're forced to try and stick the spike against a player that's in heaven, you're just cooked 98% of the time in that situation. BURG boys do a great job of actually getting into the site, killing the anchored players as well. But they just can't trade onto that flanker. Super well played. That's forced BURG boys now onto this eco round. They're going to have a bunch of sheriffs to play with, and recognizing the state of the economy, picks up the outlaw to control B main.
And on this kind of eco round, they made the variation, right, of sticking the solo cypher at the B side of the map. That leaves Nanas in a position where he can potentially double flash with Practo, the dangerous part of the map for Maryville to test. And again, they committed 2 plays towards mid, so the expectation, low play up from Maryville, tease out some of those resources on Ren's. But what the plan was there, not expecting Bonnie to be on that off angle, and has 0 crossfire.
Lockwood, I think he was trying to maybe jump up on the barrel there, or his head was just barely peeking over the side because he was all the way in the back of the box, actually. Bonnie already connecting some sick shots, was definitely a breakout star of the last stage. Finally, it's BURG boys finding an advantage in one of these rounds early. They've been losing those first engagements consistently.
This util combo would have been really important. Practo caught off on a shoulder peek. Barely gives an opportunity, but Zerona has been very, very sharp this game. Now it gets awkward. BURG boys, he with just his pistols, have to try and play through screens, and Zerona makes a trade of himself. That's going to hand a Phantom now over to potentially Nanas. He has snapped that one up. Here's that paranoia being held onto. Bonnie gets in there with the shot. And Geezer is cut down instantly. Oh, the showstopper means Ant has to get the heck out, but he runs into the line of nerve. Wildfire has no line of sight on the spike whatsoever. That is not a thrifty you want to give away to BURG boys. Brutal.
That is pretty unfortunate. Things get really sloppy. They even things up. It's just not a great reason for Zerona to be trying to push into screens there. On his lonesome.
30 seconds left.
Look, I get it. He's definitely feeling himself. He's been putting Maryville in position to win rounds or outright winning them. But that's just not totally necessary, and then gives up the gun. I like the paranoia, satchel in. But the fact that Bonnie gets a kill with the sheriff again, that's just his sick individual skill. Like, how is he coming up with that fight win? That is crazy. And now suddenly Maryville, their economy's destroyed, and they're on the eco.
Retro, the judge to hand now, obviously looking to play around his poison ore placement, potentially through mid. In fact, towards a different part of the map. It's Nerve once again dedicated towards the B side, so that rather dangerous Omen and Sky combination will be present for BURG boys on that A part of the map. Lurk wall in play, but Nerve can basically counteract it, at least in these early stages of the round with the cam. Gets plenty of information, wants to play into his own cyber cage here. Won't see a whole lot. The one-way cage set up. Does he hear the shadow step? Spams into the smoke. No caps, but there's enough players here to back him up. Retro even chimed in with the judge. Now, though, gun over in Wildfire's hands. Reinforcements a few seconds away still, so BURG boys have to play this retake.
Things getting super awkward there. Yeah, these Seekers are going to have to be used by Prac, though. Counter Nightfall doesn't get any connection at all.
Yeah, placement wasn't over towards the Heaven side adequately enough, so Nanas is able to walk up here without being decayed, without being spotted out. And Ren's util in hand. Wildfire not ready to play off that line, and now he's in deep trouble. Pinch coming in onto the side, and yeah, too much to ask for. Burger Boys able to overwhelm on a relatively costly round Maryville brought very little into.
Yeah, I suppose they'll be content enough with the damage, but when you use the Nightfall, you're really hoping to convert. I don't blame them for using it, but yeah, just sort of awkwardly thrown off to the side towards stairs and spawn, it looked like. I mean, Nerve tries to adjust forward past the cage, but ultimately ends up in a situation where he's surrounded because the Yoru is always going to be sending that gate crash into that back right corner of sight. Reinforcements try to get there in time, but the positioning ends up awkward. Maryville, they're almost able to exploit that to the extent of a round win. They can. Now stacked up towards A with a ton of ultimates.
Back we go. Janice here over on that ramp direction yet again. Dimensional Drift will allow Maryville access into the site. That's combined with Ange's ultimate. They're all in there, and Zerona is the one that's ready to throw down. Some screens presence about to be established here for Burger Boys, and that is an important kill. Zerona out of the mix, picked off out in the open on the A side of the map. Wildfire is tucked safely here, or at least he was. Now opts to go walkabout. Neural Theft, of course, is going to dig out some of these more entrenched players, so Maryville have their players laid bare, but that is some sharpshooting from Wildfire. Bonnie can't contend, and now it is a site thick with Maryville attackers.
This is a nightmare. Good dark cover there. Obscures that angle from main. Now they can get in, fight the players on site.
Here's Ange holding down by the kiosk. And Maryville snapped back very quickly. Able to get guns in their hands, but that's the kind of round where you're expending all of your instant free site take util, right? You are Dimensional Drift. You are from the shadows in towards that A side.
And more than well worth it, though, just given that because of the damage they were able to deal to Burger Boys on the prior rounds, a win here means that they get them on an eco, be able to try to tie things up 4-4, so can't be mad at that. A lot of credit to Wildfire for getting that kill on Bonnie. That is more than likely the round deciding duel that's taken there towards ramp. Winning that out, worth its weight in gold. And it's actually Maryville who are running into the timeout with Coach MCE, who is such a talented coach historically in this game. But the fact that Maryville University have access to him is really, really impactful. Like, he has been one of the best coaches at putting together teams and making the most out of the least. Genuinely can't say enough about how great he's been historically in this game.
Find a guy that really knows how to, squeeze the most out of each individual player. Curious to see what this timeout yields for him now. Of course, this is, Maryville going up on a buy. An Outlaw even brought into the fold. This is the kind of round where maybe the strategy is a little bit more nuanced, given they, again, don't have that free access over towards the site with some of those agent abilities. They do have a Viper Spit, so a pretty terrifying post-plant prospect here for Burger Boys. We're down to Cup Sheriff Stinger in the hands of Bonnie. We saw him, though. Remember, that thrifty back in round, 3 or 4 it was. Nervous really proactive. We saw this when the push came on towards the B side of the map. He goes looking for a Sheriff pick. He's that space up there. He's occupied by Giza, but Ange is going to get shoved out of B main here.
Nerve is dealt with. Do Maryville want to force their hand and get into this B site? Obviously, they have no control of B main. Burger Boys were hoping to cut off, isolate one player there. They're just slowing things down. Oh my God, Bananas, great shot.
Okay, dangerous. Yep, Giza down to 61 from his own paint shells, as far as I can tell. Maybe Bonnie had thrown his up there as well. Regardless, it made it an easy pick off with the Stinger. Now, despite that trade looking decent for the defenders, well, remaining weaponry is terrible. And Bonnie would look to try and get the gun, but that's sort of read into by Wildfire a little bit. The C's thrown up and holding on this angle. Virtually impossible here.
Spike down B.
With 60 out.
30 seconds left.
I don't know. The Ferrari P just absolutely ruined Wildfire there. Now he's got access to a rifle, so can make something off this round. Still no planted body with the swing wide. Zerona is dealt with. Not a round you should be winning if you're Burger Boys. A Retro, he can have a crack at this legitimately.
Man, only 12 seconds on the clock, but still just a classic. And wants to bait out the peak. Come on! Oh my God!
He's got no time. You gotta have the sickness here. Retro, no! The right click gets him there. It's Burger Boys. Hitting him where it hurts, Wyatt.
No. Ecoed again. You know,
man. And in that manner, too, I'm sorry, Bonnie gets a max range, stinger kill, and then the ridiculous wide swing into a player with about 150 HP.
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense, dude. Oh, it's so good to be back at LA Challengers, Wyatt.
Now, if there's one thing that we can stand on as North American players, not you, bro. Not you, but, you know, we North American players, if there's one thing we can stand on that you can't take away from us, we know how to use a stinger. That's our bread and butter. we know how to run and gun with the stinger, bro. Bonnie is a little silly for that one. The re-swing with the rifle is crazy, but feels like more of the same from what we saw on their run in playoffs. This dude is just crazy. If he can do this consistently, and, well, there's another one. If he can do this consistently, it's Burger Boy's team, man.
Right, well, he's not having to blast pack his way out of danger there in mid. So Ant gets himself a rifle, most likely. Going to be covered up, smoke played in. Here comes Stingers yet again. Maryville having control. Practo decides to take solo fight against what ended up being 2 players lined up for him. Maryville swarming across the map. Burger Boys have, sadly for them, throwing good money after bad in this kind of round. And it's just Nerve with a Vandal versus 4. His opponents now armed to the teeth after flattening the rest of the defending squad.
Nerve maybe with an opportunity to find this first. Ren's just going to play it safe and get out of there. So this one should be as good as done and cleaning things up. All right, Maryville, we're righting the wrongs of the previous round by now winning a thrifty of our own, and Bonnie decided to get a little bit too silly. Some would call that an Asuna moment. You know, you get your playoff in the prior round, and then you go for the, well, why don't I just kill everyone this round too? And
I don't want to upset everyone by saying this, but it does feel a little bit old school Jing-esque, at least in that kind of moment. Asuna is like kind of guy that's obviously going to get those stupid kills on ropes, for example. But we were talking about this in Toronto when we went over it. We said we felt like the best preparation for us to cover a Paper X game was being North American Challengers casters. Just the bombastic nature of the gameplay.
It is true.
We were ready, bro. We were locked in.
Between that and getting Penny, come on. That's what we needed. All right, Burger Boys, they're going to throw out their timeout now because we're on the... Was this 3 ecos already? I think it was 3.
Yes,
or was it 4? It's 3, right? 3. There are 2 Burger Boys and now 1 Maryville, I believe. I believe we're on 3. So
I want to point out that is a third of the total rounds in this game have been thrifties.
Again, very Challengers coded. Incredibly Challengers coded to have 3 thrifties, especially on Split for some reason. This is a map that stands out of my mind as the home of thrifties whenever we cast. But
yeah.
All right, let's see if Burger Boys can make it 4 right now. They do have Nanners with a Sheriff playing up close. Wants to see if he can't get that first shot off. Maybe then try to teleport away.
In case they need any more reason to pressure the site that Nanners is occupying, we're giving it. 5 speed over on the A side of the map means that Maryville are going to go for it. Last pack gets them in. Nanners, frankly, doesn't have the kind of weaponry to save them up. And Bonnie's caught inside a siege. This one should, and I say should, be pretty cut and dry. Now, you've got to play with, Forensic Sheriff and Judge from the extremities of this B site. And Maryville, I don't think you're going to allow another thrifty to befall them.
Doesn't seem particularly likely. Bonnie tried to drop in the site early, but got spotted just before he hit the ground, so they're able to deal with him with a nice seize back sight. And with Practo going down, that is certainly all she wrote on this one.
They won't be allowed to get out with a gun here. They have to cross in order to find it. And Ange is going to make sure that he completes the kill contract. Oh, we struggled to. Into the side we go, folks. And Burger Boys now perish. It's an evened up game after what felt like the first 3 or 4 rounds could be a game that quickly spiraled out of control. Maryville started to show us a lot of that quality. A lot of it's been Zerona fighting inside these sites and the post plants, and Ange has been pretty darn solid.
Yeah, you saw Wildfire and Giza there as well. They were the ones hunting just because they're so close to getting their ults. So they do have the Nightfall, and now Giza is just 1 away from getting the Showstopper. So very possible that Maryville will have 5 ults to use in this next gun round.
Terrifying prospect, but crucially, right, it's about the Yoru Omen ability to get onto that side for free. Already dimensional drift. This will pave the way for the Omen to set up an elbow, likely. TP in should be required. A lot of trips on this side of the map, though.
This is basically the same as last time they had all the ults. It was just an A-slam dimensional drift to get in deep. Nightfall used as well. And look, Burger Boys, they were ready for this. They were expecting an A hit with all the ults again. Look at these Cypher trips just set up so deep backside.
And is starting to second guess this a bit. Prakto caught out by the paranoia there on ramp. Will have to make some noise moving back. And there it is. So onto the side. Zerona was able to drift here, kind of get in there for free almost. Didn't have that kind of mobility that is boasted by Yoru or Omen.
And that pit just kind of denies a flood coming in fast.
He's tucked here. Bit of an issue. Bonnie eventually able to clear him out now. Wildfire. Desperate spray. Knows he's in a compromising spot. Is able to come up with that kill. Guiding Light further waylays him. Corona hiding inside the pit here. Maryville happy to hold their ground. Really tough to break into this. The players here up here for Burger Boys. No one Retro's able to find himself through the pit, though, still an issue. And Zerona has been a problem point for Burger Boys in this game already. Retro, unfortunately, Zerona's going to have the drop on him. Gives it a tap, has to step through the wall, and is dealt with. It's an expensive round for Maryville in terms of ult community and guns lost. But it's another buy of Burger Boys knocked down.
Zerona has just been phenomenal so far today. Also, I just really like that on that pit I called out, Maryville, they opted to just take their time. After they got the dimensional drift into sight, they didn't try to force getting the spike down. They were aware that Burger Boys were all stacked up, ready to flood back in, ready to fight aggressively. So that pit just denies anyone coming in from screens that allows them to get a save for plant, and then from there, they're able to fight around it, win things out. That was really well handled. Let's see if Burger Boys can tie this up at 6-6 before the side swap, or if Maryville can just cement the lead that they're trying to build here.
Showstopper to play with now. Of course, reverting a bit more to controlling the middle part of the map as opposed to that heavy extremity presence on those more ult-heavy rounds we've seen from Maryville so far. Eventually, though, they do filter out in that direction. On these rounds when Burger Boys, move Nerve over towards the B side, it's pretty passive play there. And it's deeper anchor positioning for Nanas here. Normally, we have the Sky Rafters. Nanas is sort of playing off ramp here. This time, Burger Boys are just trying to slow the pace down. See if that's possible, though.
Here comes that showstopper through. They really want to sell that there's a lot of A presence, but we can see on the minimap, the spike is over in B main. It looks like he's just going to get a free kill. What? Not a free kill, huh?
Ah, yes. Well, Giza had his medical exam due, I guess, and he got it in the worst way possible.
Great flash.
Friends here, caught in the corner of the site. Nerve completely overwhelmed. Bonnie couldn't do much about it either, so this quick pivot by Maryville over towards B. So far, so good.
That was beautiful playing around the cage there. That clone through, then the flash off of it. Swinging together as a unit. That gets them a 4-on-3 advantage into the post plant.
Friends in a pretty predictable location, but Nana's stepping out with the taps. They're able to deal with Zerona. And playing close. Knows it's about to get hot and heavy, and so he sprays on down, but Retro has found his third of the round. Quietly, starting to make his way into the game. Pinged out was Retro, but he doesn't care. He'll take the swing, get the defuse, and then deep anchor approach here for Burger Boys. Buys him enough time, and he got the numbers where it counts.
Retro just gets off the spike, knows that off the ping from the haunt is going to be a swing, and peeks out of that dark cover as soon as it comes. So double-faced with Nano, seal the deal on that. Honestly, I'm surprised they were able to win out that 3 versus 4. The positioning from Maryville seemed pretty solid, but they just couldn't actually connect to the shots at the end of the day. This was bizarre. I think he jumped, got hit by the Seeker right as the showstopper expired. This is the moment I'm surprised they didn't win things out. And by the way, that's a good little 2-man setup to deny a push through the dark cover, but only going 2 for 1 there is pretty unfortunate.
Bro, Retro is frying. And the second part of this half, he's been serving him up a 2003 Bordeaux, mate. It has been ridiculous. Just these multi-kills off a lot of these defensive moments. I haven't really had him on POV a lot of the time, but definitely seen him show up in the kill feed.
Slow approach into B main, a little bit of noise by the cam. Just trying to say, hey, it's our Cypher, but Maryville will not be buying that on account of the push all the way through A main, so they're stacked up on B. Well, Burger Boys recognize that if hit comes in here that they'll be running into the entire team. Or do they try to peel off, re-clear elsewhere? That is going to be the move. Wise call from them.
Again, this is, of course, the pistol, so much of this util now drawn out of the defenders. Burger Boy's happy enough with a probe like that one. Now they're getting ready to fight for real. Natus stuck in the corners are running. Going to find first, though. Natus needed to find a second, if not more. As the smokes came down, Mville looked a little bit better. Nerve, though, dangerous, of course. Ange and Renz need to respect this. But he is one shot for the most part. Let's try and find a way into mid. Maybe get off towards
I have retrieved the spike.
30
the A
seconds
side
left.
of the map. No one showing, so off he walks.
Renz intelligently just going to respect Nerve despite him going down to low HP. Backs off to double up with Ange. This should be pretty easy for them to deal with. Does still have one flash, I suppose, just
10
in case,
seconds
but
left.
really not even going to be all too necessary. Nerve would have to do something magical, playing off of this cam, perhaps. Creeping forward into an unexpected position. So long as these guys play together, though, for Maryville, there shouldn't be a way into this.
Seen him win these on that core team. Seen him win these. And very glad that he had some form of armor coming to the round. Down to 18, but Nerve eventually will fall. And it will be that pistol picked up here by Maryville. Had to work for it. But a great way to start in this defense side.
Fortunate it was Ange in that position and not Renz. That could have been dangerous as the two of them were a little bit separated there. But overall, I do like that round from Maryville. They're able to get Wildfire pushed all the way through A, so they stack up B. And then when they realize that the attacking team are actually just going to exit B main, they go into mid, stack up behind the cloud, so when it drops, they can triple face together, totally catch out Burger Boys on their rotation. That was a really well played round.
Friends
Bear
immediately
in
going
mind,
up.
this is their debut game, by the way. They're playing very well.
Guys, honestly, plenty of experience in those high sort of pressure games. I would suggest that, yeah, it's their debut, but they've probably played a lot more stressful matches than this one. Renz puts a hole straight through Bonnie, not the start the attackers were looking for. They're going to maintain maybe a little bit of an earlier point up towards mid, but there's Giza getting on the board properly now. Oh, three-piece, so that should be that. Nerve always a thorn in the side, but no spike to hand and no prospects of winning this round.
Our B plot for this second half of the game is the Giza Showstopper redemption arc. He's building towards it. When he gets it, can he redeem after what we witnessed on that first half?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, the timing wasn't great. He got hit with a cactus, rather a cabbage, midway through his rectal exam there, jumping down, you know, mid-ropes. I mean, it probably felt like he sat on one, honestly, with the player waiting below him. The idea was there. The idea.
Portal closed.
Idea was there.
Clean
Listen, bro,
round,
you
man.
start getting older,
Clean
you
round.
start
Clean
thinking about
round.
that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, midway through life, you gotta. Yeah,
How far off for you, Wong?
That's tough, bro. Not far off from me. You're pushing what, 40, 50?
Bro, that is
I
correct.
don't even. Oh, it's.
Bro, you
am I
are
wrong?
definitely pushing 30. You're at least
Bro,
like...
I'm young and spry, bro. You're beyond unk status at this point.
Bro, you're at least 29 and 3/4. There's no way you're not.
Not wrong, false. I'm like, I'm 29 and 4/6.
Okay,
So,
great. Yeah.
do the math on that.
Yeah, slightly less than 3/4, and I'll give it to you. That's 20. You can just say you could. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, you got me. It's like
I had to confuse. I had to throw a curveball to confuse you on
no,
that
you could
one.
just say 2/3. You know, that's okay too. Why are you using complex fractions, bro? Okay, man. Well, back to school we go, but thankfully Maryville, no strangers to that concept, and they have been doing just that for Burger Boys over the course of this game. Good start here in the second half. A very strong pistol. And, well, they eco-farmed the previous round, so wouldn't write home too much about that. Giza has maintained the judge, though. Having such a blast in that previous.
Well, both teams do have 4/5 of their squads remaining at this point. This Burger Boys want to rotate over towards that A side. Giza once again with the judge on A. Last round he got 3 kills. What will he do now? 1 kill? 2 kills?
Can we roll for initiative? geezer. Let's see what you
30
got me, boy.
seconds.
Oh, okay, that's one. We'll take it. Gets his. Wildfire next up on the chopping block as a main B, but here comes Retro swinging around the corner. The guy does not know how to get kills unless it's in threes. Ange now with it all to do. Long way from the action. Paranoia to make use of at least. But Retro for the post plant. Should he get any sort of decent positioning as that snake bite? Here comes Ange. Vickers is a veteran these days of the game. Spotted crossing into elbow, but Retro gives his own position up as well. Probably forced out of elbow by a snake bite. And Ange is going to get on it. It's just...
No.
No.
No. But a decent try. But no. But a decent try. I mean, maybe in that moment, if they were able to get some more value off of the engagement with Giza, that judge in main, fight off that, get another kill, perhaps, but just does not come to fruition.
30 seconds left.
So this was just the bonus round by, though, and they'll get a little bit of damage off with some of their aggressive plays, the walk down mid, but things are traded out nicely by Burger Boys, stabilizing just a bit. Gonna have the operator bought pretty early here over towards Renz. Giza opts for the judge yet again, actually. Practo maybe in some danger when this cloud drops.
Might be a quick push here over towards mid. Bit more uncomfortable. That controller util basically cut Renz off out of the round. Oh, so right. I wanted to reassume that position. Bonnie was ready for it now. That ropes control starting to deepen for Burger Boys. Rendell gets something here, but oh, he's overwhelmed and can't even get out in time with the 8 crash. That is absolutely devastating. Very pricey weapon dropped to the ground. Now it's up to Ange to hold it down. He'll only find the one. Giza here with the paranoia on a bit of an awkward timing. Prevents him from actually getting the drop on Retro, who, but yep, just another 3K by the way.
Just
Sure,
a little 3K again.
That's okay. Your 2024 Saskatchewan AeroPress champion
or a 4K.
coming out with yet another multi-frag round. 4 for him.
How many kills does he have right now?
He's like 24. 24?
He's got to have more. Oh, really? Oh, I thought he had 27. Only 24 and 11? Come on, bro. I thought we were on the 27 already. No, Roy's
Retro.
watching this just, why couldn't he do this on Renegades? Why?
Literally the only person saying that is Monte Cristo. That is the only person. Everyone else has probably moved on, bro. Except for Roy. Ask him about it.
I just did. I'm looking at the chat. I'm waiting.
Player just trying to bait in game. Literally rage baiting his co-worker mid-cast. Did you learn that from Love Island too, bro? Or?
What, the rage baiting?
Yeah, just rage
I
baiting.
haven't. I actually, yeah, I've been rage baited for a month and a half watching that show. So yeah, you're damn right.
All right.
This is unfortunate though for Maryville. That was a large investment, and they kind of got cooked. They had the off in there, and it is all for naught. Again, they want to fight off the cloud dropping, and again, it does actually work.
Okay, we just Dan Geezer on a collision course straight down mid with the Bucky. That is okay. It's very challenging coded. Dorona. Oh man, that is disastrous. No, at least able to trade that out. There was no way Zorona was going to walk away from that one anyway. He's done his damage. Now Renz is able to move up here with Hubert. It's a Bucky. Renz able to see Nerve walk straight into his sideline and practice his really. Are we really doing this, guys?
Left.
You hate to be in this situation where you know it's hopeless and you're just going to be slowly losing this round. I mean, Practo, maybe he can do a little bit of damage here on one of these players' backside, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. At least
10
Winthrop
seconds
haven't
left.
really been able to. Or Winthrop and Maryville. Listen, I'm used to there only being one collegiate team, but now we have
damn,
another
bro.
one.
Yeah,
My
all
bad,
collegiate
bro.
teams are the same, are they? That's crazy, bro.
Maryville University. They only collect. Actually, they do get another one. They're able to rotate back to minute time, get a couple guns. Do they keep these Buckies though? That would be some crazy work, but we'll find out. Again, another eco round win, by the way. Just more eco round wins. Another round where Zorona pushes down mid.
Oh, I mean, there's no check for that. I think like the deep trap on the extremity, able to push up into is pretty nice. But the fact that you can sort of double blast pack down mid and find that Bucky kill and more is pretty egregious. Serona does very well tucked in that corner. The Retro attempting to drag his team, kicking and screaming out this game. Fall behind by that one round. Still, though, pretty well equipped for this game and Ren's off that line with the operator. Dark Cover's going to slow this down, but there's the guy in light. He's there. Okay. All right, we are even. We are even on some
redemption.
Nice.
Redemption for Giza. It gets the kill with his own showstopper, but denies the kill from the other one. Love to see that. Love to see that from him.
We've closed the book on that chapter, I think, as he's already starting to come into his own here. Most of those kills with shotguns, I would suggest, in this second half, but hey, it's honest Valorant, whichever way you put it. 50 seconds in the round for Burger Boys. Very beaten up, weakened 3 players, hoping at least to get some unfettered access towards the A side and get a decent Viper's Pit here, then they're on for a potential round win.
Just trying to
30 seconds
contact
left.
their way in real slowly. Mville aware of what's going on. They're on the rotation over towards this A side. It's going to be used. That's a big commitment, but I respect it. That is really the only realistic way they could convert on a 3v5 here.
Note that Nerve is playing off this with a trap wire watching the late ramp. Honestly, could be a problem for any players on Maryville trying to go from ramp to dimensional bridge, but he's going to see all of this now. All the plans for Burger Boys laid bare. It's time to do it the old-fashioned way, and we go. Just tear them apart. Okay. Kind of hyped us up for a little bit of a nothing burger there. Because that's exactly what Burger Boys get served up. It's another Maryville round take. Viper's Pit committed, and ultimately, it gets them 1 kill.
Yeah, not exactly the value that they were hoping for. That was a good retake from Maryville. Able to just swarm out together. Some solid scaling. And now they've got Burger Boys in a pretty tough situation economically. You could see them considering their options as to how much they actually want to invest. And it's just going to force them into the timeout at this point. I don't even want to say that this should be a round worth 2. You've seen so many damn thrifties in this game, but you would think this should be enough for Maryville to get onto that 11th round.
1 enemy remaining.
I just think that the economic damage is getting pretty severe. And if you just want to play a pretty sensible game behind this gold util against, you know, these classics or maybe Sheriff's poured in, no reason to walk up into any sort of funky lines. Maryville have done a great job of obviously converting on some of these weaker buys. And Geezer again, genuinely think a lot of his kills come from shotguns, but a good recovery now in this second half, starting to really become a factor in the game. Serona also could just straight up deny the side of the map here away from Burger Boys, and a timely timeout as Nerve has the hero rifle. Big spend up in this round.
And Giza does have the judge yet again. Yet again. Getting a lot of hard-stuck gold players hope that they too could one day make it to the Challengers League if they just keep buying the judge on defense. See? It does work. It's dishonest, but it works.
Big component of converting these eco rounds from Maryville gets him into this position, which is a commanding one. Ren's again returning over towards ramp with that operator. Okay, crash expiring, so he'll have to refresh that. Mid control fully tuned though by Burger Boys, and there's no heaven presence whatsoever on B, but the Viper's Pit prescribed response now to this. This changes the calculus a little bit for Burger Boys, starting to think a bit more about getting into heaven via ropes, a dangerous prospect, while Geezer is, you guessed it, waiting there with the judge.
This is honestly pretty awkward. They're hoping that the pit is just going to funnel them into Giza, and it does seem like that will be the case unless he gets caught. The judge is covering up this angle.
Yeah, it's the way I was going to say he did. He was hoping to turn that road room into a chum bucket, but here comes the pistols of Burger Boys yet again. Practo gone up and got himself an op. Ren's clearly not ready for that level of scrutiny, and Ange has got to be feeling uncomfortable. Gets back into elbow after it was cleared. And
no.
okay, Sheriff's best gun in the game. You heard it here first. This is a
another one.
4-player Burger Boys team in a post plant now. Now, the only way this would be more Challengers coded is if Variable won this round still. Well, that one looks like it's off the table well and truly.
Another thrifty. Another one. That is absolutely ridiculous. I'm gonna be real. But that defensive setup for Maryville, it got incredibly awkward. They just had no B heaven control at all, so they just used the pit on site because they're scared, I think, that they could be coming through heaven because they had nothing watching it. It got very awkward in the mid round. But then the pit did serve to funnel them into vents, into the judge. But the angle that Giza was holding, the judge, like the actual weapon model, covers up someone going up the rope on his right side. But it wasn't even that player who killed him. It was someone else who just didn't kill. That was bizarre. But he's running it back. He got the judge again.
Cage triggered.
It was like the second player to swing off that.
That's so strange.
I think the Viper's Pit is a response to seeing a Heaven side smoke is fine. It's a little easily teased out of you, I guess, but it did force, like you mentioned, it did funnel Burger Boys into the judge spot. He's just unable to deliver a very what would have been a very macabre scene for us there.
And then also there was an Optimus from Renz. He can't teleport away. Paracto one-shots him and swings out. It can't hit the shots. There were just some major whiffs in that round, unfortunately, for Maryville.
I've covered up here for Bonnie. Probably not a ton of application for kind of round. It doesn't matter where mid is often smoked off here on the A side of the map. Don't always get a good opportunity over at B. Renz takes some incidental damage. Gate crashes out a bit, so that weakens his position further now for Maryville. And Burger Boys seem pretty adamant about maintaining their claim to it. They're going to get into ropes. Giza's going to be right to push into this. Not the situation you want to be with this kind of weaponry. This time, though, weapon model be damned. No one getting the drop on your boy Giza.
30 seconds left.
Wow, Nerve. Trying to clear both angles. How does Serona get a second? That is crazy.
Ooh, the noise biting. The sidestep. Fracto at least trades. Giza found his one. Cabbage is not enough to soak up the bullets there. Fracto falls and it's Retro.
10 seconds left.
Gonna have to give us another classic 3K performance, I think. Retro making enough noise to wake the dead here, and he won't be joining them quite yet. Picks up Renz, decayed down, but no opportunity for that to be capitalized on. There's just no time in the round. Spike isn't to hand. Retro says, well, I'll just pad the stats.
Serona gets away with a pretty absurd two-piece playing in male there. Sure, gets the first on Nerve, who's like trying to hard clear the angle, but Serona's in an off angle, so he gets caught. But the fact that a trade can't come through immediately on a 5 HP player, that is really rough. He should not be getting away with that. I mean, you imagine that trade just comes in cool, and then we just go right into the Seekers, can get through vents with more players, totally different situations. Serona comes up huge. Yet again, I mean, both Vipers have just been easily the star players for their teams.
Maryville looking dangerous now. Happy to take these mid pushes, play towards the extremities. Even if Giza has the... You guys bought a judge again. That's fine. He's just going to keep playing and being an issue for Burger Boys to push into. Again, if it ain't broke, Giza's not looking to fix it. And if it is broke, then Giza can just blame it on an external factor. Nothing about what they're doing, which is very base.
Scout destroyed.
Also, does deal significant psychological damage when he has the judge again, especially if you're the guy that dies to it a couple times in a row. It's tough to recover.
Friends here. We're looking to flash Wildfire, or rather, Serona onto this line. So deep! Oh, the pump is good, though! Oh, yes! Exactly what you're looking for! A very nicely put together crossfire here for Maryville, and that really puts Burger Boys' chances of taking a map here quite out the window. This, of course, is the Maryville map pick, but this would be a beautiful conversion. Some great thrifties from them to put them in a commanding position. And that little crossfire, it's about as good as it gets. Of course.
And it should end with that. And it should end with the judge kill in that round from Giza.
Match point.
What a start for Maryville. Their first Challengers game, first Challengers map, and it's looking like they're going to take it against Burger Boys, who finished the last stage in 3rd place. That is some impressive stuff. Just a little pop flash play into the double swing. Zerona again
Remaining.
just goes crazy, multi-kill.
I mean, bear in mind, we are talking about Maryville, who played at DreamHack in the Red Bull home ground final, right? Against NCR. They did lose that. But they got there by beating this exact Burger Boys team in their semi-final. Yeah, semis it was. So, pretty big deal. So they've handled these guys before. They've not been part of challenges, sure, but they've been getting their reps and their licks elsewhere. All on nerve. A very nice amount of health, but probably not enough to mow down 4 players with rifles. And eventually, the end of the line comes for us all. That's Maryville with a 13-9 here on Split. Pretty bizarre map at the best of times in some of these rounds. A lot of judge abuse, even some buckies mixed in, but Maryville do take their map pick.
A lot